On New Year's Eve, I was alone at home. My son finished his master's degree and started working at a big company, so he was busy working overtime. My husband suddenly went on a business trip far away, and my parents-in-law unexpectedly asked to go back to their hometown to worship their ancestors. My neighbour came over to visit, and I happily showed off the 30 yuan lipstick my son gave me. She opened WeChat, a little surprised. "Wait, didn't your son just receive a year-end bonus and invite the whole family to the Maldives for the new year?" I immediately called my son to confront him. She snapped, "You're a housewife who sits around all day doing nothing and doesn't do anything. What right do you have to ask me to go on a trip?" My husband also chimed in. "What did you contribute to when he was in graduate school that you're still dreaming about your son's filial piety? I was so angry that I fell to the ground and stammered, telling them to call an ambulance." I vaguely heard my mother-in-law on the phone comforting her grandson. "Your mother is making things up again. You're old and you're pretending to be sick and calling us backers." Amidst the lights of the new year, I quietly breathed my last. When I opened my eyes, I had returned to the day my son asked to retake the graduate school exam. "Why didn't you let me retake the exam?" "Other people's families want their children to study well, but she's afraid that if they study well, they'll fly away, right? Dad, can you get a divorce? I'm still living with my mother. I might accidentally stab her to death one day." My son turned the dining table upside down. The New Year's Eve meal I prepared all day fell to the ground. His favourite dish. Meatballs 4. The position was broken into pieces, like pieces of reddish-brown minced meat scattered everywhere. I went back to the New Year's Day when Tian Jiamu's son failed his graduate school entrance exam. But saying he failed the exam is not quite right. At that time, he said he had spent more than 20,000 yuan to register for a class with a guaranteed passing rate. In the end, he did not answer a single question, and he failed the exam. I went to collect the tuition fee and found out that not only did he not take any classes, he also did not take the exam. When I asked about the money, he immediately cursed. "What are you asking for? Didn't you know that the exam is on New Year's Eve this year? No matter how good you study, it's useless. What do you know to ask for instructions?" I pressed him to the end. "Where's the money? Where's the 20,000 yuan?" He slammed his hand on the wall and shouted, "I bought an online course. Course, understand also, I won a scholarship this year, much better than my freeloading mother. This is the son I quit my job to teach. Now he lies without blinking an eye. The essay was only 20,000 yuan. Mother-in-law glared at the floor and said, 'Look at the dirty house, go clean it up.'" My husband Tian Sheng glanced at me and then spoke wearily. "What are we arguing about during Tet? If I don't give my money to my son, then I'll give it to you. In my previous life, I was so mad that they made me crazy. My father-in-law had a stroke and was hospitalized. I quit my 1,000 yuan a month cleaning job to take turns with my mother-in-law at the hospital. Tian Sheng was fired and hid it from the whole family for half a year, pretending to go to work during the day. In fact, he only played games and gambled. That 20,000 yuan was the living expenses for the whole year in this family with no income. I forced my son to show me proof of online enrollment. He got mad and punched me in the face, pulled my hair and banged my head against the wall until I vomited non-stop. I endured the beatings and argued from New Year's Eve to the 8th day before I found out that he had spent all his money on games. He still hadn't passed 3 subjects to cover it up. He made up a story about receiving a scholarship. I yelled and cursed him for being a professional liar, holding a knife forcing him to refund the money for selling the account. Promise to study properly from now on and quit playing games. The money can be refunded, but I have to give it to Tian Sheng to pay for my father-in-law's hospital fees. Tian Sheng received the money and turned to comfort his son. "Be patient, mother and son have always been crazy and insane. This life I won't ask anymore, just gently ask again. Mum is asking for real, you didn't lie to me, right?" He turned his face away. "What's the point of lying? Don't be so fussy, will you? Let me retake the exam or not?" I laughed. Tiansheng took a deep breath. It's a good thing that his son is willing to study. Wen Tao stopped teasing me. His mother-in-law was using a stick to beat the rice cakes on the ground. It's only 20,000 yuan. Why are you so tense? Your son wants to study, but you still won't. She only cares about the money. Wait for me to get angry. I leaned back in my chair. My son didn't object. The son asked cautiously, "You're not going to make me write a commitment, are you? Like if I don't study enough, I won't give you money." He guessed correctly. I did that in my previous life. Jia Mu had a very poor sense of self-awareness, loved to play, and would only jump when the last minute came. He was okay in elementary school, but he dropped out miserably in middle school. He had to consider whether he could even get into high school. I discussed it with Tiansheng and quit my job, staying home full-time to study with my 100 children. I made a study plan, sat with him, and tutored him bit by bit. Finally, I was able to get him into the 211 University of Information Technology. But without me tutoring him, he failed 8 subjects in his first year. I cried and begged the instructor to keep him from being expelled. When he graduated, he still had 3 subjects left to pass. I agreed to sell the house my mother left behind, pay him back his tuition, and make him sign a commitment to study at least 6 hours a day. After only a week, I discovered that he turned on the plough to fake class time to cope. Despite the whole family's objections, I dragged him home from the rented room, watched him closely searched for documents every day, and helped him solve his problems. When he passed the master's exam, my mother-in-law arrogantly spat in my face. "I told you my nephew is smart. If he studies hard, he will pass. Only a crazy woman would say he is lazy." My son graduated and started working at a big company in Shenzhen, saying that he was busy working overtime during the new year and couldn't come back. He sent me a lipstick worth 300 yuan as a reward. When I opened that dirty box, I suddenly felt that all the humiliation I had suffered over the years was worth it. My son has become successful and still remembers me, so it was not in vain. On New Year's Eve, everyone in the family was busy leaving me alone at home. I still cooked Jia Mu's favourite dish, 4-flavoured meatballs, happily taking pictures and sending them to him. "Want to eat? Mum will come make it for you." I was still looking for the cheapest train or bus ticket to Shenzhen when I heard that his heart was travelling to Maldives with his father and grandparents. I exposed that. He rolled his eyes in frustration. She was really a bloodsucker, not enough to suck my father. Now it's me too. I was so angry that I had a heart attack and collapsed to the ground. The phone fell under the chair. I tried my best, but could only mumble, "Ambulance, ambulance." On the other side, my mother-in-law sneered. "You're old and still pretending to be sick." Tiansheng also laughed. "Don't mind that crazy woman, let's continue playing. Son, call another MS." Outside, the sound of firecrackers rang out. The MC of the central station started counting down. 8, 7, 6. Before the moment of entering the new year, I quietly left this world. At this moment, looking at my son's doubtful eyes, I felt relieved. "If you want to take the exam, then take it. I'm old. How can I control you for the rest of your life?" I silently counted down to the MC. 3, 2, 1. Wen Tao wishes him a happy new year, happy rebirth. Remember that. If you dare to go back on your word, I will chop you to pieces and flush the toilet. Tian Jiamu glared at me and shouted loudly, "I am studying." After saying that, he slammed the door and walked into the bedroom. A moment later, from inside the room, came the sound of him cursing his teammates. The mother-in-law cleared her throat and deliberately spoke loudly for Jiamu to hear. Tet is coming, so what if Jiamu lets him relax a bit? He is not like someone who has a miserable life. He can't stand seeing his son play a little. Tian Jiamu plays games all day, his eyes glued to his phone. He just graduated from high school and had myopia surgery. Now his myopia is more than 3 degrees. Every time I stop him from playing games, the whole family jumps in to protect him. Just this winter break alone, they have argued 7 or 8 times. Tiansheng saw me silent and deliberately mocked me. That's right, Jiamu studies so hard in graduate school, what if he plays a little during TET? Will my eyesight drop if I play a little bit? I ignored their ridiculous drama, walked into the bedroom and locked the door. I had just texted my old colleague Miss Duong to wish her a happy new year and asked about her work. She had just replied, Ms. Duong joined the unit the same year as me. She was an assistant back then and is now a senior manager. She wrote guiltily, it's not that I don't want to help, but I quit my job in finance nearly 10 years ago. My heart sank a little and I gritted my teeth and texted back, Ms. Duong, what if I retake my master's degree? I can start from the lowest position as long as I can work again. She seemed to soften. She said she would consider it. Outside the living room, my mother-in-law was banging on the door. Who are you trying to make a fuss about during TET? There's trash all over the floor. Hurry up and clean it up. Dianthing also shouted. He's been lazy all day. Quickly boil me a pack of noodles. I haven't eaten anything yet. What are your arms and legs growing for? If that doesn't work, open the window and breathe in the northwest breeze. I said a sentence and started studying for this year's graduate school entrance exam. In my previous life, when I was tutoring my child for the second time, I thought about taking the master's degree in finance to return to my profession. I told Tiansheng about that idea. It happened that he didn't have a new job yet. These past 2 months, he went to the hospital to look after his father, and I went to the library to study, and at night I studied with the child. Tiansheng burst out laughing, holding his stomach and leaning back. The rain is so beautiful, he doesn't have a fever. At this age, can you still recognize him? Besides, if you pass the exam, what will you do? People study for a master's degree to become a doctoral student. You're over 40. What research teaching your daughter-in-law to give birth? I laughed along, not mentioning the matter of studying again. This time, under the light of the fireworks in the sky, I diligently made a study plan. At 40 years old, being lonely can still start over. For the first time since I got married, I put aside all the housework so that I could sleep until I woke up on my own. At 8:30 a.m., I opened the door to my room and saw Tiansheng lying on the sofa playing with his phone, his face sullen. He also knows how to wake up. Just like the Queen Mother. My mother had to wake up early and work hard all morning. If you have any conflicts with your son, then don't drag my mother into it. If my mother is sick, you don't know for sure. I calmly replied, why don't you help your mother? Tiansheng was furious and threw the phone on the table. Who said I didn't help? I cleaned up the mess on the floor by myself. He did sweep, but it was no different from destroying it. He threw all the leftover rice into the corner of the wall. The yellow grease seeped into the newly pasted wallpaper. The spilled soup solidified on the floor, the thick black grease all over the house, making it slippery to step on. I've done all the heavy work, you're lazy. Hurry up and clean the floor. If guests come to wish you a happy new year, it'll be very unseemly to see. In the son's room, they were shouting and cursing their teammates. Tiansheng lowered his voice. He hasn't stopped playing since last night. Hurry up and teach him. Also, don't pretend to be stupid. I've checked, there's no online course worth 20,000 yuan. It's obvious he spent the money on something else. Ask for it back. I laughed coldly. Didn't you say it wasn't urgent? Tiansheng's face darkened. It's not your father who's in the hospital. Aren't you worried I'll give you 500 yuan a month? Other people's wives save up to 1 million a year. But what about you? Can't save a single cent. Marrying you is better than raising pigs, and it's profitable. That 500 yuan, it's not even enough for a month's medicine for your husband's father. I didn't bother arguing. I raised my voice and shouted, Tianjiamu, your father is asking you where did you spend the money? Tianjiamu burst out the door, staying up all night. Tianjiamu's eyes were bloodshot. His face was shiny with oil, and he had a few big pimples. Didn't I say I bought an online course? Don't you understand human language? Don't bring up my father's name and talk nonsense. My father has never controlled me. Tiansheng paused, forced a smile and explained. Just now my father said that my mother couldn't save any money, so my mother went crazy, and my father couldn't stop her. I shrugged. Don't make up stories. I made it clear yesterday. From now on, I won't interfere anymore. Tianjiamu raised his head, sneered. Are you being sarcastic again? It's only 20,000 yuan. Wait until I pass my master's degree and go to work. I'll earn it back in a month. Tiansheng swallowed his anger and didn't dare say anything. In this family, I've always been the one to put on a brave face while they've always played the good guy. For the past 20 years, Tiansheng has never said a word to his son. His mother did that because she was worried about him. When she was outside, she was always strong-willed. My son was very smart. He didn't need anyone to teach him anything. Not once did she mention the effort I put in to teach him. As soon as he saw his son enter the room, Tiansheng's expression immediately changed. Just spoil him. Wait until he enters school and see where you get the money. When my father can't pay the hospital fees, who will panic first? Before the two of them could ask for money from their son, a phone call from the school's education department came. On the 6th day of the Lunar New Year, Tiansheng was sitting at the dinner table, bragging to his relatives about his son's scholarship. Jiamu didn't take the graduate exam because he didn't like studying anymore, but if he studied seriously, the scholarship wouldn't be difficult. Seeing the phone ring, Tiansheng smiled brightly. Oh, the teacher called to praise you. Come on, let's all listen to Jiamu being recognized. Tianjiamu rushed over to grab the phone. Dad's drunk a lot, let Mum listen. She was sure she didn't spend a penny and didn't put in any effort and still wanted to hear the teacher praise her son. Such a beautiful dream. Tianjiamu was so nervous that sweat was pouring down his forehead, and I tried my best to stop him. I took a sip of tea, watched Tiansheng turn on the speakerphone, and the teacher's voice came clearly from the phone. Tianjiamu had 6 subjects, a total of 14 credits, that needed to be retaken, and the retaken tuition fee was 5,000 yuan. He said his family refused to pay, so I called to ask about the situation. Besides, she still has 3 subjects to retake after TET. If she doesn't pass, it will affect her graduation. Jiamu's aunt couldn't hold it anymore, laughing hysterically. Her daughter was studying mathematics in the top 3 in the country, preparing to study abroad full-time, having just been teased by Tiansheng's father and son. Tianjiamu said that she studied such a useless major, so she should get married early. Tiansheng's face turned red and green, raising the wine bottle to hit me. Wen Tao, what kind of mother are you? Don't you even know that your child is retaking the exam? I took half a step back, calmly dodging to the side. Why is that so strange? I thought that if I had a scholarship, I wouldn't be able to fail a subject. You damn woman, go home right now. On the way home, Tiansheng kept glancing at me angrily to see how long I could pretend to be calm. When we got home, he knocked on the table, signaling me to make some hangover medicine. There, see, making a fuss and then getting into trouble, embarrassing the whole family. If you had bothered to ask earlier, you would have known that she had failed, not... This is the end. This TET is over. Jiamok was spoiled by her. He didn't learn a single word during the whole holiday. Hurry up, make him study. The teacher said if he fails the retake, he won't get a diploma. In my previous life, when I heard that my child might not graduate, I was so confused that I couldn't even eat. Every day I coaxed and scolded him to study and ran around everywhere asking if I needed to give him a gift to the teacher. He joined Diantin in mocking me for retaking the retake, and copying that he passed was a dog and still got a passing grade for that subject. Oh, your mother really hasn't seen anything in the world, just worried. In the room, my son was still screaming and playing games while I calmly packed my papers and prepared to go to work tomorrow. Just now, Ms. Duong texted to say that she had arranged for me to be in a free position in the unit. Her attitude was serious. If she passed the master's exam, she would follow her to City A to develop the market. Would she agree? Dianting was still nagging in her ear. Me. All day long you only know how to cause trouble, but you're a mother, and that's how it is, I replied lightly. If you can't stand it, then get a divorce. Tiansheng immediately raised his head and stared at me as if he was trying to find signs that I was sulking. Tiansheng gritted his teeth. Have you thought about it carefully? A good man who doesn't womanize or gamble like me, after a divorce no one will be able to find him anymore. Mother-in-law leaned her head back. Oh, you've learned to use divorce to scare people. Tianjamu poked her head out. Dad, have you finally come to your senses? Hurry up and get a divorce. Tiansheng glanced at his son, who was engrossed in the game, and glanced at me, clearly waiting for me to scold him so he could jump in and be a decent person. But I told you I won't care about him anymore. Tiansheng hesitantly spoke. You've been playing for a long time, right? Take a break to rest your eyes and then continue playing. Tianjamu curled his lips in disdain. What's wrong with you, Dad? Why are you talking like a mother? Didn't I tell you if there are still people who fail the subject in the final year, it's the teaching system's fault, the school can't help but let you pass. Tiansheng deliberately spoke loudly. Oh, then keep playing, son. Tianjamu slammed the door. Tiansheng lost all his smile, turned to me and said angrily, You're a housewife and you really believe him. You didn't even force him to study when he can't graduate. Don't blame me for not warning you. I calmly replied, Then you take care of him. Tiansheng raised his head. I'm not a housewife. I still have to find a job. I found one. Tiansheng was stunned, suddenly realizing, Oh, you've learned to be smart. No wonder Qi went to give gifts to Ms. Duong yesterday, where how much money, when will you start working? I told him everything clearly. His eyebrows furrowed. Why didn't you discuss it with me first? That woman is a very narrow-minded woman. No matter how much you give, you can only earn 1,000 yuan for a lowly job. You have to give it to the leaders to make a difference. Understand, I have 20 years of experience. I should earn at least tens of thousands of yuan. Well, it's too late to talk now. Next time something like this happens, remember to discuss it with me first. Don't make a decision on your own. Mother-in-law is very happy. Working in the stamp room is great, isn't it? Stamping and getting paid. What's the point of Wen Tao standing there? Hurry up and wash and iron his clothes. If you don't have clean clothes, what will you wear to work tomorrow? You're really a lazy woman just sitting around and eating gold. If my son wasn't good-natured, you would have been fired long ago. I stopped packing my luggage. The one who got the job was me, not Tiansheng. The two of them glanced at each other, their faces clearly unsightly. Mother-in-law sneered. You go to work. What good can you do? I'm telling the truth. You work during the day and at night you have to go to the hospital and have 103 husbands. Can you stand it? If you're smart, tell Sister Yang, let my son do it instead. Tiansheng also cleared his throat, looking deeply concerned. She turned around and sat idle. Did you think stamping was easy? One mistake and you're screwed. If you sign a few contracts wrong in a day and lose tens of billions, how will you compensate? Only then did I realize that my son's habit of lying was indeed hereditary. Sorry, Sister Yang assigned me to go. I briefly told him about the graduate school agreement. If you are also confident in passing the graduate exam and follow her to another province, then just tell her. Tiansheng laughed almost in anger. At 40 years old, you are still taking the graduate exam. Why don't you just die to feel lighter? You have a pig brain and want to take the graduate exam. Look in the mirror and see what kind of dignity you have. Sister Yang is just a joke. Or did you sleep with her husband? The three of you had so much fun, but only earned more than 1,000 yuan. In the past 20 years, I have been trampled and humiliated by him countless times like this. I have tried my best to find examples to prove that I have sacrificed for this house for my child's education, and have argued with him until my throat was hoarse and I couldn't say anything. But no matter whether I proved or protested in his mouth, I was a crazy woman. This time I didn't waste another drop of emotion. I packed my bags, left that house, and left the whole family was behind me. After leaving, I moved back to the old house my mother left behind. I studied early in the morning, went to work during the day, and attended graduate school review classes in the evening. A boy sitting at a table inside the classroom came across my diary video, his eyes shining. You're amazing, Sister Wen. You're already up at 5:30 studying. Actually, I slept in for another half hour. In my previous life, when I was tutoring Tian Jiamu in his graduate school exams, I had to wake up at 5 in the morning to cook. After seeing the two of them out of the house, I immediately ran to the hospital to deliver food to replace my mother-in-law. My father-in-law suffered from a cerebral hemorrhage which led to mild dementia. He always thought I was trying to harm him. Whenever he saw me, he would pick up something and smash it. If my mother-in-law was even a little late, she would point at me and scold me. I had no income, so I just gritted my teeth and endured, then took advantage of the time to find exam materials and plan my children's studies. Now, my life is much easier. Tiansheng has contacted me twice. The first time was the first day I left home. He texted me casually. The child asked for sweet and sour pork ribs with steamed shrimp and vermicelli with garlic. Remember to buy things after work in the afternoon. At that time, I had just started working, was still busy with my studies, and had not had time to reply. The second time, he sent a screenshot of Jianjia Mok's re-examination results. Failed. Caused the child to delay graduation. Are you happy now? My mother is now alone with 103 of me. If you still have a conscience, come back soon. I might not settle the score. I finished cleaning up my homework at midnight and had time to text back to ask for a divorce. The message was not successful. Only half a day after the reply, he blocked me. Work and studying for the exam occupied my mind. I did not have time to chase after him and beg for a divorce. Life passed quietly and busily for several months. In the extra class, my deskmate Chu Vu worriedly said, "Sister, there is a guy who got 91 points in English last year, but this year he still retake. Oh my gosh, I don't know how I'm going to qualify for graduate school." I gave him the essay framework I compiled myself. Don't think too much. Everyone starts from zero now. As soon as I raised my head, I suddenly heard Tian Jiamu's voice. There were 5 or 6 people surrounding him asking how to learn English. He had gained quite a bit of weight and was wearing thick glasses crossing his legs, swaying happily. I never study at all. I was too tired from playing games, so I just flipped through the book a bit. Honestly, what's the use of getting a high score? My mother stole money and ran away. My family didn't have any money to bribe, so we were eliminated right from the interview round. I coughed lightly. He raised his head, his eyes wide open in surprise as he looked at me. "Fuck, I told you, Mum ran away with a guy. Are you really studying for your master's degree?" He walked over to my desk a little worriedly, saw the English practice test on my desk, and laughed out loud. 32 points? Oh my God, even a dog would be better off closing its eyes. Xiao Wu couldn't stand it. Sister Wen not finished the question. Dianjia Mok rolled his eyes. Sophistry, everyone knows how to make excuses. Mum, if your brain is really broken, then go back, kneel down and apologize. If your cooking skills are still good, then Dad and I will let you go home. It's not that he's afraid of me exposing him, but with his nature he must have photoshopped the test score photo just waiting for me to make a fool of myself. Right from the first sentence, he coldly pushed the responsibility of lying to his friends that I ran away with money onto his father. Unfortunately, no matter how well written a lie is, it's still a lie. I put down my pen. What about you? How many points did you get on the test? Twice as many as Mum plus 10. Oh, and you haven't finished yet. If you finish writing the essay, it will probably be higher. I tutored Tian Jiamu's 4th grade English every day to the point of passing. With that level not writing the writing part, but asking for 70-something points, it's too unreasonable. I glanced at his brand new vocabulary book and slowly asked, "Do you dare to do a test with Mum?" He snorted. "Are you scared? Even elementary school kids don't play that game. Don't you dare. Come on, take the test. But if you get a lower score than me, then get the hell out of here." After 3 hours of doing the test, my face was pale with exhaustion. As for Tian Jiamu, she was sitting back in her chair regretting it. Right, she was a housewife and refused to go out bringing trouble upon herself. Before she just opened her mouth and told me to study. Now she knows that studying is not easy. Go home from now on. Stop interfering with your child's gaming to avoid headaches. The review teacher finished grading the test and walked over with a smile. Sister Wen, you got 84 points. You've improved another level. Sister the Center wants to invite you to be a model student. If you agree to cooperate in the promotion, you can get free tuition for the review class. You're over 40 years old and still dare to start over-inspiring so many young students. Tian Jiamu shouted loudly, interrupting the teacher. Don't let her fool you, she's cheating. I saw her copying. Xiao Wu sat next to me. Her sleeves were rolled up. Sister Wen wasn't even sitting in the right place. Her phone was in her pocket. What could she copy? Are you so angry that you lost? Seeing Xiao Wu's arm muscles, Tian Jiamu unconsciously took half a step back, his neck still stiff. How could he have jumped from 30-something to 80-something without copying? You're defending her all the time. Are you marking her? Or do you like wearing my dad's worn-out shoes? Before he could finish his sentence, Tian Jiamu received a punch from Xiao Wu, his glasses flying to the ground. He panicked and hid behind the other students, still cursing nonsense. My mother is old crazy enough to leave home and children, letting such a selfish woman be a model student. Aren't you afraid that the whole class will turn into a pack of wolves? The students around pulled Xiao Wu back and said, Calm down, don't hit anymore. Wait until Tian Jiamu gets 5 or 6 more punches before everyone really stops him. The sound of discussion echoed throughout the room. Stop talking nonsense. Is Sister Wen selfish? She answers every question and shares every request for documents. I support her to be a model student. When I was in college, I was always playing around and even thought about jumping off a building. Seeing my sister, who was over 40 and still dared to start over, I finally had the courage to continue studying. Is it selfish not to be your slave? You are the real little wolf. At first I thought that if this time my test score was higher, I would try to persuade her to change her attitude towards studying one last time. But when I saw Tian Jiamu's resentful and unconvinced face, I just shook my head. Last time my mother got 30 points because she had to go back to the company to work overtime after finishing half of the test. Tian Jiamu, if my score is higher than yours, I hope you dare to apologize to Wu Cheng and your mother. The review teacher glanced at Tian Jiamu's paper and frowned slightly. Tian, I will not announce your score, but I think you should temporarily stop the advanced class and go back to the basic class to consolidate more. Tian Jiamu's face darkened. He snatched the test paper back, gritted his teeth. I was afraid that I would do too much. She would lose face and not dare to raise her head, so I deliberately did around 40 or 50. Maybe because I was too disappointed, don't listen to him trying to argue, I don't feel anything anymore. I calmly opened my mouth. Since I said it was such a high score, it's simple, just fix all the mistakes just now. Tian Jiamu paused for a moment, then pretended to calmly take out his phone to check the answers. I raised my hand to stop him. Didn't you say you got 91 points the first time you did this test? If you've already done it, why do you need to check the answers now? The test the teacher gave us was the real English test from last year. In my previous life, when I reviewed with him, I also looked at this test once, just skimmed through it. So even though my level was only around 70 points, I was still able to get 84. The whole class chuckled. Who would have thought that a person who passed the exam in the 400s would suddenly be interviewed just because they didn't bribe? They must think we're stupid. And they said that studying for a month would allow them to take the exam. They're fooling themselves, not just us. Tian Jiamu's face was red and he glared at me. A woman who abandoned her husband and children thinking she was formidable when she did the simulation test. Xiao Wu cracked her knuckles again. I calmly reminded her. So, what if I apologize? Tian Jiamu took a deep breath, her voice as small as a mosquito. Sorry, I suddenly remembered when she was little, she was tired of playing but didn't clean up her toys. Curled up and fell asleep on the sofa, she woke up to see me coming home from work, hugging my back and cleaning up. She trotted over to take over the job. Sorry, Mum, Moo forgot to clean up. Mum, rest and let me do it. Unfortunately, the good seed grew in toxic soil. No matter how much I fertilized it, it couldn't sprout properly. Jiamu's roots had rotted long ago. The next afternoon near the end of work, I felt a few strange colleagues looking at me with strange eyes. As soon as I entered the tea room, someone walked away as if avoiding me. Was she not able to see me? She looked gentle, but who would have thought she was a beast in human flesh? After work, as soon as I stepped out of the building, I knew the reason. My mother-in-law was sitting on the steps crying and rolling around. Meanwhile, Dien Tin and Dien Jia Mok were squatting beside me saying a few words of comfort, but not bothering to help me up. Seeing me walk out, my mother-in-law screamed even louder, her tears and snot streaming down her face. "Oh, Tu Dao, I treat you like my own daughter, I love you. For 10 years, the whole family didn't let you go to work, leaving you at home to enjoy life. And yet you left without saying a word. You ran away from home with a guy to have fun, leaving your father-in-law lying there with no one to take care of him, dying in the hospital without you even knowing. Is your father-in-law dead? In my previous life, my mother-in-law and I took turns taking care of him every meal and every hour. He even had the strength to tease the young nurses." My mother-in-law's voice was hoarse, but she still screamed heartbreakingly. Athin still respected our past relationship and didn't want to make a big deal out of it. Yet she dared to take advantage of her father-in-law's funeral to sneak home to steal things. Oh my God, what a cruel beast! Before I could even open my mouth, Dien Ting quickly spoke first, looking dignified and reproachful. "If you're short on money, just say so, apologize properly. Who forbids you from coming home? But you stole my mother's jewelry. My mother is old. You scared her to the point of relapse." "What jewelry?" I was stunned for a moment before I realized they were talking about my wedding jewelry. On the wedding day, my mother-in-law used the excuse that precious jewelry shouldn't be displayed outside, asking me to help collect it. But that collection was more than 20 years ago, and there was no sign of it. I clenched the phone tightly and asked in a cold voice, "When did it go missing? My company and the training center both have cameras, just check it, and you'll know I couldn't have done it." Tian Jiamu pouted. "We're still busy taking care of Grandpa's funeral. Who cares about those details? Mum, just return it. If you don't return it, you can pay. If not, we'll have to report it to the police." Why is he speaking so softly today? Before, whenever he caught a slight mistake in me, he would immediately whine and demand to chase and beat me. I felt something was wrong and asked, "What makes you dare say I took it?" Tian Jiamu lazily glanced at me. "There's long hair in the house, and there's also the smell of perfume. Who else could it be but you?" After saying that, he froze on the spot. I had cut my hair short since I started studying for the exam because it took too much time to dry it after washing it. And the smell of perfume, I'm extremely sensitive to smells. Before, when I washed clothes for the whole family, if I accidentally poured too much fabric softener, I would get a headache. How could I use perfume? They had lived with me for so many years, and he didn't know anything. I calmly raised my phone and called the police. I also wanted to know who took my gold. Dien Jia Mok shouted instead. "That gold has been in my grandmother's closet all this time. Where did my mother get the nerve to claim it was mine?" Dien Tin looked embarrassed. "Who else came into our house? Why did I have to call the police? Maybe my mother put it away and forgot. You lost tens of millions of assets and didn't call the police." I paused for a moment and continued. "Furthermore, you guys made up stories to defame me in front of the company gate all afternoon. The law belongs to the people. The three of them are also preparing to go to jail." They looked at each other in silence. The mother-in-law was the first to stand up with a cane. "What about her?" She didn't abandon her husband and children. Tian Sheng also spread his arms out, pretending to be innocent. "Isn't that too harsh? When the whole family quarrels, it's just a few sentences. There's nothing to calculate every little thing." Tian Jiamu's face was even more shameless than his father's. "What did we say? We just came to the front of the company to find you." "Mum, you said we were slandering. Do you have any evidence?" The more they talked, the calmer their faces became, the more confident their voices became, as if they were the victims. Even if someone saw it, what did it matter? Everyone was busy who had time to meddle in other people's business, especially a strange colleague. I smiled gently, turning the phone screen towards them. "I'm sorry, I have a video recording. Before walking out of the company gate, I clearly recorded the scene of the three of you fabricating slander." As soon as he finished speaking, Tian Jiamu rushed over, snatched the phone from my hand and slammed it onto the ground. The phone shattered into pieces. He raised his mouth and smiled smugly. Where's the recording? What's the matter? Want to push my father and grandmother to the police station?" "Sorry, I won't let you." My mother-in-law grinned like a blooming chrysanthemum, proudly raising her thumb towards him. A colleague couldn't stand it anymore and was about to step forward to help, but Tiansheng laughed and stopped him. Family matters, it's almost done. I don't dare to bother you guys." I smiled faintly, took out another phone from my pocket. "You guys in the online self-study room, you must have heard clearly right. The police will come later. I hope everyone can help me testify." Ever since I started studying for the exam, I opened a group to live stream online self-study. As soon as I saw them come to cause trouble, I turned on the live stream camera. The three of them froze in place. The space was so quiet that you could clearly hear the heart dropping from the live stream. When my colleagues saw that I was determined to call the police, they all stepped forward and stood between me and the three of them. I recorded all the noise this afternoon. Sister, I'll send you the video. Last time there was an urgent contract that needed to be stamped, and Sister On came back to the company at 10:00 p.m. I'm sure you're not the kind of person they said you were. It was right to get out of this messy family. Sister, do you need a lawyer in this legal department? Let me take it. I'll give you an 8% discount. When I got to the police station, I realized how dirty a farce this was. Dianjia Mok was addicted to games and no one controlled him. He borrowed money from all credit applications. Now that he was about to be unable to pay them back, he stole gold from the house and sold it. When his mother-in-law found out, she smelled the perfume in the house and thought I had come back, so she conveniently put all the blame on me. As for Dian Tin, he was having an affair, brought his mistress home to play, and even gave her money. Because she was afraid that her mother would find out, she absolutely refused to admit that the perfume smell was from her lover. Seeing that the family was about to run out of money, her mother-in-law dragged the two of them to my company to cause a ruckus. Her mother-in-law forced a smile, trying to cover it up. "Well, it was all a misunderstanding. I told Jia Mu to sell the gold. I'm old, I forgot to bother the police." She pulled Tian Jiamu's hand and was about to leave the station. I cleared my throat, apologizing that gold was my personal property. My mother-in-law had no right to sell it. The whole room suddenly became quiet. Only Tian Jiamu's heavy breathing could be heard. Tiansheng glared at me. "We're both in the same family, yet you still divide mine and hers. The wedding gold and dowry must be counted as the groom's family's assets." I laughed coldly and looked straight at him. "Don't forget that year when you didn't have money to buy wedding gold. I was afraid you would lose face, so I paid for it myself. I still have the receipt. That gold bracelet alone was 50 grams. How many years will you be sentenced to if you steal property worth several $100,000? Stealing from 10,000 or more is a serious crime. Tian Jiamu will face a sentence of 3 to 10 years in prison." Tiansheng suddenly softened his voice. "Wife, why are you so petty? After all, it's all for the children to figure out in the future." Mother-in-law frowned and interrupted. "Are you planning to force Mu to sign the debt paper? Aren't you afraid that he won't be able to support you in the future?" Tiansheng even comforted his son. "Be patient. Your mother is still the same. Everything has to be made into a big deal to be tolerated. Okay, Mumu, apologize to your mother. Your mother can't keep her husband, so she's angry. Wen Tao, if you use this to threaten your son's future, I swear I will divorce you." The police officers standing there were all stunned. When encountering this kind of theft, usually the thief kneels down to apologize, begging the homeowner for forgiveness. But them, not a word of apology, no compensation, and constantly attacking me. If I wasn't at the police station, my mother-in-law would have hit me with a stick. Only I understood that they didn't believe that I was cruel enough to put my son in jail. But I spoke up not because I was angry, but because from now on, I decided to start playing the role of a mother again. So they fell into the same old game. I was the bad guy. They were the good guys, wanting my son to be good, but not wanting him to be close to me. I said I absolutely will not forgive. Moreover, your slander and defamation this afternoon have had a particularly serious impact on my work and life. I also absolutely will not forgive. Only when the police were about to issue a decision to temporarily detain me did they truly panic. You never raised me. What if I take some of your family's assets? What kind of mother doesn't even know that her son is addicted to games? You failed to teach your son like that, and you still have the nerve to put him in jail. Are you really trying to destroy this whole family? I burst out laughing. If it were me in the past, I would have felt really guilty for those scoldings. Unfortunately, the accounting exam review had a logic type. After studying for a long time listening to them, I immediately realized that they were reversing cause and effect. What does Tianjiamu have to do with me if he steals? Did I force him to steal? If you want to find a reason, you should ask why when I was teaching him. You guys kept hindering him, making him think that I was the bad guy, and you guys were right. How many chances did he have to correct his lying habit? You guys all ignored it just to save your face and shake him. If he can reform after a few years in prison, remember to thank me. I didn't sign any forgiveness papers. Tianjiamu was sentenced to 3 years in prison. Tiansheng and his mother-in-law were detained for 5 days for slander. When they were released, they looked haggard. At the police station, Tiansheng admitted to having an affair. I took that record as evidence. The divorce trial went smoothly. A month before the graduate school entrance exam, the divorce verdict was announced. I was the innocent party and got 60% of the assets. At night, the kids in the review class suddenly turned off the lights and brought in a cake. Congratulations on the divorce, congratulations on the rebirth. I smiled and cut the cake to share with everyone. I wish everyone good luck in their graduate school entrance exams. A week before the exam, Tiansheng suddenly called and said in a panic, "My son is crazy. He made my mother so angry that she had to be hospitalized. Now he keeps asking to see you once or he will commit suicide." After receiving a 300 yuan running fee from Tiansheng, I reluctantly went to the camp. As soon as we met, Tianjiamu, with his bald head, was sniffling with tears and snot. "Mum, I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have hidden it from you, secretly taking them to Miva because of Grandma's instigation. She said you were an outsider, and bringing you along would ruin the fun. I really wanted to bring you along." After that trip, they saw that I had a future and started asking for money. They demanded more and more. I had no choice but to borrow money online. I couldn't pay it back. I lost my job and they didn't help me at all. I had no choice but to jump off the building. I coldly watched her one-man show. It had come to this point and she was still blaming me. My grandmother treated me like nothing but treated her like a treasure. Tiansheng was unemployed for half a year and still managed to withdraw 20,000 yuan to pay for his master's exam preparation. How could he say they were asking for money? Mum and I helped you get revenge. You don't know. Grandpa had to fast after surgery. Grandma knew but still forced him to eat porridge. I'll expose her. She's a murderer, even killing her husband. In her previous life, mother-in-law took care of father-in-law with all her heart. She wasn't so heartless, she just saved every penny to take care of him, to continue his exam. But she didn't have any sympathy in her heart. Tianjiamu sneered, half gloomy and half delighted. "You don't know my father's new lover is a professional swindler like pork. I haven't told him yet. You wait and see. Sooner or later, my father will go bankrupt and be sold to the industrial park for organ harvesting. I feel like I've never known this person. The coldness in his eyes makes others use him. Mum, I know you love me the most. I understand that you are controlling me for my own good. Please forgive me this time. As long as you sign the forgiveness paper, I can go out and I will earn money to support you." I looked at her without saying a word. She acted like a guy who turned around and I was still silent. Finally, her face darkened. "Don't think that you really passed the master's exam. I still remember this year's exam. If you fail, you will be unemployed again." I laughed and turned to leave the detention centre. Her life was over. As for me, after a year of studying, staying up late and waking up early, I was confident that I would have a good result. And actually, whether I passed or not was no longer important to me at this point, because I had the courage and strength to leave the mud. At 40, I could still start over,